What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we've got the breakdown for the weekly reset this Tuesday, January 9th, 2024, and so we're heading into week 7 of the Season of the Wish, and this week we also get the first update of 2024, so Bungie have some fixes which we'll break down there, and on top of that, we should see a new exotic refit catalyst upgrade for the Wishkeeper. Then additionally, we've got a refresh on the new season content, Navigator will be farmable for the first time, and we'll uncover some secrets on the new quest steps for the season story, which take us to its conclusion. But on top of that, we'll see new unlocks and challenges, and as always, we get the raid refreshes, exotic mission rotator and featured activities, as well as the Nightfall, playlist modes and key unlocks for the week. So we'll cover pretty much everything worth knowing about what's happening in the game, and as always, I hope you find this one useful. If you do, a rating below really helps us out on the channel. But without further delay, let's get into it. The first thing to mention for this week is that we should be seeing the first game update of the year. So Destiny 2 team on Twitter said, "We've heard your concerns about the togetherness modifier in the coil, and in Tuesday's update we'll be removing togetherness from the modifier rotation for the activity, so players will no longer see it as an option going forward." And I think that in itself is a good change because that modifier is pretty annoying, but it also confirms of course that we get the first update of the year. Plus Bungie had said that they're going to send out a fix for everyone affected with incorrect rewards from the challenges from the new dungeon. Plus they've mentioned other things like players being kicked for inactivity when spectating inside of the coil, and some audio bugs with Riven in the coil, so potentially a couple of updates this week, but I'll keep you posted with the confirmed patch notes on Tuesday. Otherwise, we get a refresh on the milestone rewards and drops for the new seasonal activities, as well as new steps for the main season story quest. Now these will be the final steps for the quest for the story this season. There's been a little bit of debate in the community as to whether these will be delayed given that the season is extended. There's no evidence of that at the moment, as there is a seasonal challenge that requires us to complete the steps for this week's quest, so we'll assume that these quest steps will drop this week, and firstly, we need to speak to Riven, before completing the mission Chiasmus to retrieve the final egg. And then we'll need to go and speak with Crow in the Helm before returning to the Wall of Wishes to make the 15th wish. And so the story part this week could potentially be pretty juicy. We'll have to see how it pans out in the game. Separate to that though, inside of the Starcrossed mission, we'll get the next exotic catalyst refit for the Wishkeeper bow, and as far as we know this week it should be the Vorpal weapon refit, so it'll be interesting to see what the weapon's like with that one, and of course, there should be a quest that pops up on Mara Sov to initiate that at the weekly reset on Tuesday. But that takes us on to challenges for the week. And so firstly, we've got Wish Seeker 7 to complete week 7 of Wishing All the Best. Then there's Swift Dispersal to rapidly defeat combatants in Riven's Lair or the Coil, with additional progress from final blows within the Coil. And then additionally, we need to collect Wishing Glass shards in the Coil as well. But then we have Dragon's Defender to defeat targets with Trace linear fusion rifles, to defeat targets with Trace rifles and linear fusion rifles, and we get additional progress from Guardian final blows and final blows within Riven's Lair or the Coil. But there's also, on a whim, to acquire the Chivalric Fire. Then there's Expedited Violence to rapidly defeat targets in Crucible, Gambit, or Vanguard, and we get bonus progress granted for Guardian final blows. Plus we have Weight of Dreams to get final blows with weapons using heavy ammo in ritual activities, and we get bonus progress for rocket launcher final blows or by defeating Guardians. But finally there's Flourish of Power to defeat Guardians in the Mayhem playlist with super abilities, as well as Darkest Nightfall to complete any Nightfall strike on hero difficulty or higher, and we can see there is a bonus Nightfall weapon reward drop right there. And finally, there's also mid-range calibration to calibrate mid-range weapons like hand cannons, glaives, autos, fusion rifles, and machine guns, with bonus progress granted for defeating Guardians. So those are the weekly challenges right there. But of course, we'll also get the refresh on the Warlord's Ruin dungeon, so have fun with that one. And then over to the Crucible for the weekend, we'll see bonus Trials ranks. But for the rest of the week, we'll get Control, Mayhem, and Elimination featured as core modes. Then as we move over to the Nightfall, this week the Nightfall will be PsyOps Battleground in the Cosmodrome, so that'll be an interesting one, and the featured weapon will be Warden's Law, but of course Grandmaster Nightfalls are also now available. But for the weekly featured raid and dungeon, firstly, we're going to get the Root of Nightmares on Neomuna, and of course the conditional finality can drop there, so it'll be a good week to farm for that one. But additionally, we'll get the Ghosts of the Deep featured, and I believe this is the first time that this has been featured, so the Navigator exotic should be farmable for the first time as well, so it'll be a pretty good week to jump into that one, and good luck if you are still hunting it down. In the Legends tab though, for the exotic mission rotator this week, we'll see Operation Seraph Shield, so if you want to work on crafting Revision 0 or pick up any of the Season of the Seraph weapons, it's a good one to jump into this reset. But additionally, the Eververse store will refresh as well, so I'll keep you posted with that with the vendor video on Tuesday, as well as those patch notes. That does take us to Eternity though, and the Dares of Eternity, and on top of the core loot drops this week, we'll get additional drops from the Scatterhorn armor set to the Perfectus armor, and And there'll be a bunch of weapons from Season of the Chosen, Worthy, and a couple of world drops from Season of the Lost available as additional drops as well. But for the featured Lost sectors this week, initially, for Tuesday, we'll get Skydock on the EDZ, which will be dropping exotic legs. And that'll be followed by the Quarry on January 10th, dropping exotic gauntlets. Then Aphelion's Rest in the Dreaming City, dropping chest pieces on January 11th. But we'll also see Bay of Drowned Wishes on January 12th, dropping exotic helmets, Chamber of Starlight on January 13th, dropping exotic legs, and then we'll move over to Europa with Perdition on January 14th, dropping exotic gauntlets, and finally Bunker E15 on Europa for January 15th, which will be dropping chest pieces. But a very final thing, in the Dreaming City this week, we'll get the Ascendant Challenge, which will be the Keep of Owned Edges found via the Harbinger's Seclude. So if you want gameplay of how to find that one this week, we'll run it at the end of the video. But otherwise, guys, for this week's reset, that's what we have to round up. So as always, I hope you found this video useful. I'll be keeping you posted on the patch notes and any other revelations that we get throughout the course of the week. So stay tuned here on the channel and I'll keep you up to date. But if you've enjoyed the video for today, a rating below very much helps us out. Also be sure to get subscribed if you are new around here and I can keep you posted with more Destiny content. But otherwise, thank you for tuning in and I hope you guys have an awesome day.